Edible Water Channel with another video talking about Stockholm Syndrome in the black community. I'm gonna just play the video and then I'm gonna chime in, okay? So I like this is a video from that Japanese man Yuta. I like his videos a lot. His video is growing up half black in Japan.
It's Yuta, and guess one with that handsome half.
Now, this dude right here doesn't even look Japanese. All right? He doesn't look Japanese until he tells you, for the most part. Or somebody may ask, are you mixed with something? But in America, he, like, for the most part, the majority of people wouldn't pick up on that he's mixed.
Japanese man, Farouk. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. 生まれたのは、東京都目黒区ですね。もう東京育ちなんで、もう日本人。
So he says, I grew up in Tokyo, so I'm Japanese in style. Let me stop right there, because he's going to say that a few times throughout this interview. A lot of people who are biracial, okay, it's them trying to shun who they are. Because as he talks, he's going to say that, hey, like his father's from San Diego. So he wasn't raised by his father. He was raised by his mother in Japan. All right. So a lot of times, like, you know, a lot of black folks, they take pride in being mixed or saying how mixed they are. Whereas like in Japan, that's looked down upon if you're mixed. It's looked down upon in China if you're mixed. It's looked down upon in other Asian cultures and other Asian countries if you are mixed. Okay? But black folks, I mean, they take pride in being mixed with something else. Hey, at least I'm not all the way black. And as him being an adult, it makes you look silly. So let me continue.
中身は、はい。お母さんは、普通に日本人ですね。で、お父さんはアメリカのサンディエゴ出身ですね。結構、まあ、元気が溢れてたのかなって感じがありますけど、普通の日本人のことを変わ
Well, you were different from other Japanese kids. Okay? And they let it be known that you were different. So let's find out how they let him know how different he was.
ない感じでしたね。そうですね。やっぱちっちゃい頃はやっぱなんで周りと比べて自分の肌の色は
Look at that. Look how sad that is. When I was little, there were times when I asked myself why my skin was black. Black males out there, if you go to Asia, any Asian country, and you have children with a woman out there, make sure you stick in their lives. Make sure you raise them. You stay in their lives. Okay? Don't have them over there by themselves and you just hop back to America and you leave them out there to defend themselves by themselves. Okay? Don't do that. You have children. Don't be a deadbeat father. Stick in their lives. If you go to America, you take them with you. Get them their American passport. Don't have them being a grown adult saying, when I was little, there were times when I asked myself why my skin was black.
黒いんだろうとかやっぱ思うことがあって、まあちょっとやっぱりまあ本当保育園ぐらいの時肌の色でまあそういじめら
Even though he said that when he was younger, okay? I'm pretty sure this guy knows English. Man, and that's what you'll see a lot of times out there. In situations like these, when they're being interviewed, it's like that's the first thing they say is they're Japanese. And they want to let people know that they're Japanese or they're of Asian descent by speaking the language. Like, nah, I'm going to speak the language when they know English, okay? Sometimes they don't even want to learn English when they get older. It's like they want to perfect their own language so that when they get older, it's like people will accept them for being Japanese. But it makes you look kind of silly because you don't really look Japanese. All right? And then when black folks, you know, black people, they approach each other overseas. They'll say hello, or they might ask you questions or ask you for directions. And them assuming that you're full black and you're a foreigner, you don't know how to answer them. And it kind of makes you look silly. So while everybody else around you is learning English, while all the other Japanese people are trying to learn English, you don't want to learn English. And he talks about that later on.
とかやっぱありましたね。小学校に上がってからもやっぱり肌の色に対してやっぱいじめてくる子はやっぱいましたね。自分中身が日本人なんでやっぱりそういう肌のことで言われるのは結構傷つき。
Because I'm Japanese inside, it would hurt when people talked about my skin. So he said it 3 times already.
だけどそういう言われるのを覚悟しないといけないのかなと思って、あんまり気にしないようにしてきましたねやっぱり。はい。比較的結構多かったですね。
普通に友達と遊んでる時もなんか、
はい。
And that's another thing, man. Like, you know, I said it before. His father, he wasn't raised by his father, so it was like his father. I guess he felt growing up, his father abandoned him, and you know, you can't, you know, just because your father abandoned you doesn't mean you just run away from blackness. Your father doesn't represent all black people as just bad and negative because he abandoned you growing up, or you felt like he abandoned you growing up. You know, deep down inside, like if you're black, you know, get to know your African roots. Because a lot of black folks in America, they shun their African roots. They don't even want to look up their DNA to see where in Africa they came from. And as you can see, he doesn't really want to get to know like his African side neither.
なんか肌の色とか、
はい。友達の中でやっぱりあんまりいないですね、そういうこと言ってくる子は。やっぱりそういうこと、肌の色を言ってくる人とあんまり友達じゃなかったことが多かったですから。
なんか
はい。
一般的に結構ハーフの人はめっちゃいじめられるみたいなイメージがあって、でも
So then he talks about how, you know, I was only bullied a little bit. I did have friends. Then he talked about how he went to America for 2 months. He didn't know the language. Then he had to go back to Japan. He lived with his dad, but he only stayed in the house the most of the time because when people try to talk to him, it was embarrassing because he didn't know the language. You know, then he talked about how Americans were much friendlier. So here, you go back to America. You go to San Diego. I've been to San Diego before. I got family in San Diego. You're surrounded by black folks over there. You know, yeah, they might, you know, poke fun or whatever because you don't know English or whatever. But you said that he mentions later on that they were friendlier. Okay. He mentioned later on that they were friendlier. Oh, I can't find it. My dad, yeah, right here.
住んでて、ひたすら遊んだり、ご飯食べたり、別に特に何もしてないですね。
I didn't do
こ
anything
れは言語
special.
の壁がでかいことですよね。やっぱ自分はもう日本生まれで日本で育ったんで、やっぱり英語が話せないとやっぱりコミュニケーションが取れない。
Couldn't
これはでかい
communicate.
ですね。そうですね。やっぱりフレンドリーですね、アメリカ。
American people were friendly, so obviously your side of the family, your black side of the family, they're much friendlier towards you than how people treated you in Japan. And you know, people still like, no, I'm Japanese inside. Even though the people that you were raised by didn't consider you Japanese. They didn't want you a part of their culture or their community. Yeah, you speak the language, but you're not us. You're Hafu. Or you're Karumbo, as they call. It's like the N-word, the equivalent of the N-word over there. You know, I'm pretty sure he's heard that growing up. Because the last interview I did that I recorded of the lady interviewing Ariana Miyamoto, she said she was called Karumbo growing up. So you probably heard that growing up. But they still like, no, I'm Japanese inside. You don't say that you're black inside, even though your physical features, you look 100%, you look like you almost 100% black. No, I'm Japanese inside.
自分は日本生まれなんでやっぱシャイな性格なんです。
And I'm Japanese. So that's the 4th time he said it.
日本人なんで。けどアメリカ行った時はもう人もみんなフレンドリーで、買い物する時も声かけてくれたりとか。そういう
People were friendly towards you. Why didn't you stay there? You know, just learn the language and stay there.
差が違うなと思いましたね。
And here's the thing, like a lot of black folks like him, um, they go to Japan. They go to Japan and like no, they're born and raised in Japan. And like I said in the previous video, when they're younger, they're treated like trash. Like the kids are picking on them. But as the kids, take a liking to Western culture and they see black entertainers, then they start liking black people. So it's around about like middle school or when they start to enter high school. Then they think he's cool. Then he becomes popular. But as soon as they graduate, it's tough because then they got to look for a job and they can't find a job. All right. And when somebody like him, who said earlier, like I didn't play the whole thing, but he said earlier, like, yeah, I didn't really start studying English till I entered high school or when I was in high school. If you had been studying English, if you'd have said, damn all that, let me just hold on to this language and not study English to show people that I'm quote unquote Japanese inside. If you'd have been learning the English language since you were a kid, by the time you graduate, your English should be pretty good. So then you could get hired as an English teacher and teach others English, and you get paid more because you don't need an assistant. That's what people love to do, is just hire a teacher without having to pay an extra assistant because you can't really communicate with the kids. See, you can communicate with the kids and people see you as a foreigner, but you want to prove to everybody how much you're Japanese and how you're Japanese inside. So as an adult, you can't really speak English too well.
頑張りました。はい。
The people ask if you're Japanese.
聞かれないです。あん
They
まり
don't
聞かれ
really
ないです。
ask you
やっ
that.
ぱ話してからは、日本で生まれたんだねとは言われますけど、やっぱり最初の印象から日本人ですかって聞かれることはあんまりないですね。やっぱり
They rarely ask you that. You see that? You see that? So you're still holding on like red velvet. You're holding on to something that doesn't want to hold on to you, that never tried to hold on to you. It's like, yeah, you were raised there, but when you look in that mirror, you got to see what the world sees, and you got to embrace your blackness, okay? So I'm not shaming Japanese people. Every Japanese person I've met, they were real friendly towards me. Japan is a nice place to visit. It's expensive, but it's a nice place to visit, okay? But people that had treated me with respect from Japanese culture or that were Japanese, they knew like I wasn't trying to be something that I'm not. Even though, yes, you are half Japanese, you were raised in the system, people reminded you so many times who you were, okay? And if they're reminding you that, then you need to embrace who you are and learn about both sides, because one side isn't trying to claim you like that, all right? So I'm not trying to be harsh and go hard on the brother like that, but as an adult, you're an adult now. As a kid, if you think like that, okay, cool, whatever. It's sad, and you fathers need to stick in your children's lives, okay? But as an adult, man, it looks silly if you're still an adult saying that, But I'm not assuming that he is saying that. It's probably just for the interview. But it's sad to see that, all three of these videos, some of the things that they're saying. I'm Japanese inside, I'm Japanese inside, I'm Korean inside, I'm Korean inside. But you go to Korea, you go to Japan, you were isolated. You weren't properly educated. You were bullied. You were called the N-word. All right? So just want to show you that. And one more time, like over in Asia, Asians, they take pride in being 100% Asian. While black folks, they take pride in being mixed. There are some dark-skinned Asians out here. And if you say, hey, is your father black? Is your mother black? Is somebody in your family black? You will see the fire in their eyes when you say that. They will get pissed off. All right? Man, I've lived in Canada, and there was so many there's a lot of biracial kids, a lot of biracial, half black, half white kids in Canada. man, they are so confused over there. Those kids are confused. They don't fit in with nobody. They shun their blackness, and they keep getting, they keep getting reminded on who they are all the time, constantly. Okay, I saw it when I was living there. It's sad. It's like they don't fit in with nobody. So, and I mainly blame the father in this. Okay, I blame the fathers out there. You have children by Asian women, stay in their lives. Okay, don't have them growing up shunning their blackness because of you. I'm over and I'm out. Peace.